Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day. It's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we cover true crime over here. And of course, we're covering the case of Charlie Kirk, a great man, a great man. And so we're going to be discussing this case. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be giving you guys some information as it's coming out. This is one of the first assassinations that we've had this much information on at all. I can't recall in our history where we've had this kind of information coming out in this record time. So I think it's important that we notate that. And I know I didn't get to all of you guys and saying good morning and putting your comments up on the screen. So I also want to tell the tail enders good morning. Vicky, Crystal Pistol, Saved by Grace, our beautiful Pebbles, and all of our beautiful mods. Dawn, Lisa B. Always. I hear Lisa B. Always is taking our advice and going and seeing an attorney and getting a will and other documents. We had a show on here the other day about basically, this harvesting of organs, being an organ donor can cause some consequences when you're incapacitated and doctors say that you're brain dead. We had a situation where a guy was not brain dead. He was like in a coma, and they're trying to set him up to start taking his organs, and he's waking up and pushing the doctors out, and the doctors are basically saying, oh, this is involuntary movement, and the guy's alive. And the physician that wasn't going to cut into him was threatened that they were going to lose their job if they didn't get those organs. Now, like I said, you need somebody, especially the single young folks, because, we're dealing with Charlie Kirk, 31 years old. I guarantee he never anticipated that he would need, any type of healthcare surrogate or anything like that. I'm sure he had it done because he's a bright, smart man. Either way, people need to be smart, and you guys need to take care of yourselves. And if you're not married and your children are adults, if something happens to you, the hospital's in charge of your care. That scares the shit out of me. I'd put your neighbor in charge of your care before I put a hospital in charge of your care, especially if you're an organ donor. Just saying, organs are a lot of money, okay? You being on life support is costing the hospital money. Your organs are a profit to that hospital. So just remember that, not to scare anybody, but it's a true story. It's a true story. So I think the best way we're going to be able to honor Charlie is I want people to know who he is. I humanize people on this channel. We did that with the Idaho 4. People were being very nasty with them. We went out there and humanized them. People need to see Charlie. They need to see what great person they took away from all of us and the future generation, because it's just not fair. And then we're going to get into some updated breaking news topics. Some new information that's been released over the last, 20 hours or so. You guys were all here. We were, I put my hard line in the sand, and by the grace of God, people were kind of leaving the channel. I was fine. I was willing to give up 10% of the channel, and that's over 4,000 members of this channel to have my hard line in the sand. We didn't even scratch that surface. And then after last night's show, we increased our audience members by almost 200 people. So it was really a blessing, and I'm going to take that blessing because it shows me that there's a lot more loving people out there in this world than hateful people out in this world. We had a net 70 and a plus 200. So that just shows you I'm happy to stand on my convictions, and I'm happy to stand on what's right in this country, and I will accept nothing less. I accept nothing less from the politicians. We keep our pulse on, and we keep our pressure on, and I expect no different from my audience. I want people here that are here for the right reasons. We've been fighting here for years to end the violence in this country, and anybody that cheers on violence is not welcome on this channel. I will tell you that. It's a hard decision to make. But at the end of the day, it is the right decision in my opinion. It is the right decision in my opinion. So it's nice to see everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started here this morning. And I can't think of any better place to start than Charlie being a dad. Give me just a second. I thought I had all these things fixed up just right, but I guess I didn't. There we go. Because at the end of the day, his greatest gift to the world is his children.
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you.
I love you too.
I don't know how anybody can say that wife and the children deserve their life sentence, or the vile people that say that little girl right there deserves to visit her father. Those are the type of people that I do not want to associate, and I never in a million years ever want to see on my channel. Because we fight for victims, and that little girl, she's a victim. She's a victim. And I think this was important as well. I don't know if you guys know her. I remember her from being, in some comedies and silly stuff, back in my upbringing. But I think her husband has a very, very strong message and very endearing. And so I thought today, before we get started and kick off the new information, we would get right. We would get right.
Can't stop thinking about Charlie Kirk. And my usually quiet husband has something he wants to say.
Well, thanks for that introduction. Normally
He's
quiet.
funny.
It's normally because you're talking so much. Anyway,
Hey!
I just feel compelled to speak out.
Talk louder.
I usually I feel compelled to speak out on this. I usually mind my own business because nobody cares what I have to say. I'm just an old retired cop with 2 metal hips, and but more than anything, I am a fallen sinner with no hope without Jesus Christ and what he's done for me. He's God in the flesh. He lived a sinless life we could never live. He died on a cross carrying our sins, and he walked out of a tomb. He washes us clean with his holy blood, and that's who I am more than anything. This past week in our country, we witnessed a young lady bleed to death in her pizza uniform on a commuter train. She was butchered by a monster who should have never been on the street in the first place. We witnessed an amazing 31-year-old man with a beautiful family speaking out in the name of free speech, and more than anything, lifting up the name of Jesus Christ. He went right into the lion's den. He did it with grace. He did it with compassion. And all he did was engage in open dialogue in the arena of ideas, and it cost him his life. He was lifting up the name of Jesus Christ and free speech, and it cost him his life, an assassin's bullet. He is nothing short of a martyr, literally nothing short of a modern Christian martyr. And every Christian church and every Christian pastor in this country ought to be paying tribute to Charlie Kirk and his family this weekend. They ought to be paying tribute to him. Nothing galls me more, and I'm just going to say this, nothing galls me more than Christian pastors in this country who say they don't want to get political. There is no separation between the political and the spiritual. Everything in life is spiritual. If you don't see that, you maybe should find another line of work. I'm just going to close with this. Proverbs 8:35 and 36. God says, if you find me, you find life, and you will obtain my favor. And the next verse says, if you sin against me, you wrong your own soul. Those who hate me love death. God is speaking to us. I would just encourage us as individuals in a nation to turn to God today. Today, we need him more than ever. Jesus Christ, John 14:6, is the way, the truth, and the life. That's all I have to say. Thanks for listening.
Good job, Paul. I agree, and I want to join the throngs in South Korea and London saying, we are Charlie. But Charlie did it better than any of us. He really did. He did the Great Commission better than any of us. I want to be like Charlie. That's what my shirt should say.
So, I wish more people of, movie status that have platforms, bigger than a lot of us do, start saying those messages out there for people to see. Because, right now, in a place of darkness, of pure darkness, I might have to read this one on my channel, but we can go over it. It's about the Discord. We went kind of over it yesterday. But at the end of the day, if we just had a few more people out there willing to stand up and speak up, how great, this this could be, because right now in this uncertain time, we need people to show love and compassion. And right now, there is a whole bunch of people that don't want to show love and compassion and want condemnation. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it. And so I'm condemning those people that condemn others, that cause this situation. And I'm going to continue to be vocal on that front. And I hope everybody else out there in the ether is. I have got to embark on a trip over to Arizona, because somebody that was an amazing person that I've got a chance to meet, speak to, know the work that they do, the amazing work that they did. And to watch them, literally, I watched him get assassinated. We all did. We were all on X. We couldn't play it on here, but you know darn well, many people saw it around this country, and we saw the people celebrating. That is beyond disgusting. And then when we hear that they're in medical professions, psychology professions, teaching our children, don't tell me that vile crap ain't seeping into the workforce. Don't tell me that I'm not prey when I go into an office with people that are celebrating death for speaking about Christ. The hell to the nah. That's some scary. That's scary for me, okay? I don't know how y'all feel about it, but that's a little too much for this girl here, okay? I love people. I want people to love others, but it is demonic. But if they're not going to love others, I'm definitely not going to allow them around my people to get into their brain and infiltrate that hate into their life. That's why I tell you guys to stay off them hate channels, because it's toxic for the body, mind, and soul. Just absolutely toxic. So as we know, for the other article that I just passed over that was kind of blocked, it was about something that we were talking about yesterday. Discord basically came out. Do I still have that Washington Post? I might be able to see it on my phone. Sometimes it lets you see it on your phone. Charlie Kirk. Let me see if I can get the Washington Post on here. And it's already been outdated with the stuff on here. It's not even showing me. There it is. Okay, here's what it basically says. It's going to give me that, but it's fine. So it basically says that it was me. They're saying on Discord that he said it was me. I don't believe it. These things were planned on Discord. We see a direct connection. I see a direct connection to a lot of tentacles from this left-wing movement. We've exhibited and sought for ourselves on this platform with multiple content creators and this is basically the playbook. What they do is they demonize you. They demonize you. It's like brainwashing every single day, talking horrible, inciting and rallying up their audience, right? And it doesn't matter where it's at. This is the playbook. Demonize, incite, then project, and then dox. So they're basically, rallying up and inciting their base. They're telling them, you need to go get in the streets. You need to do this. You need to do that. Go over here. Do this, do that, right? And when they start seeing the people take those actions, they know that they've drawn them in and they're hooked. And once they start seeing them going over here and doing this because they told them to, and going over here and doing this because they told them to, now they know they have that audience drawn in. And then comes the what? Doxing. We've watched it in a smaller amount and on a smaller scale here on these social media platforms. And then what happens? Their crazy lunatic audience starts calling in CPS reports, swatting, making threats to people, going on, right? So this is what happened on a grander scale with Charlie Kirk. They demonized, started inciting their base, making sure that they were going over there and saying those horrible things in those chats, and then they realized they got their person hooked. Now they're telling them, go over here, let's go over to Discord, let's get together and unify and do something about this. And then they go over to places like Discord and start unifying and talking about taking people out. But usually when they first start, it's all about doing stuff online, getting in their chats, making problems, doing this. And then you got this small sector of people that remove themselves from the bigger group, get in here, and then they start doxing people. And then somebody says, I have an opportunity to take them out, and I'm going to. And that's where we meet Tyler Robinson in all of this. That's how it happens. And we've seen this playbook long before it was played on Charlie. And it makes me start thinking, I think it's time for Discord to come down. I know for a fact that this was used prior to this for a lot of horrible things here on this platform, the YouTube platform. And I think at this point, it has become a cesspool of people using it to do terrible things, bully, and in this case, assassinate a person. So in my opinion, it's got to go. But we'll see what the government chooses. And along with Roblox, we're hearing Roblox is, a breeding ground for CSAM and, pedo activities and trying to get to younger people and having them get out of their house and taking them. We've seen this happen all over the country, and fathers having to break into boats to save their kids, and some kids going gone for a year and finally are coming home after different operations are done. Here in the state of Florida, we had 60 children we saved, some of them that have been missing for a year. So, this is happening all over the country, and Roblox was a key figure in all of that with the children. So I think that needs to come down. I know that there's politicians right now that are trying to take the Roblox channel or system down. As we speak, they're trying to get congressional approval to do it. And I'm starting to see the dog whistle to also do that with Discord. Will Discord survive? If there was any planning on their platform, they need to be brought down. They don't need to have that platform anymore. If they're not monitoring their platform, and this goes for all platforms, including YouTube, and this is where I spend the majority of my time is YouTube, TikTok, and X. Those are my platforms. Even Facebook. I used to be on Facebook all the time, and because the censorization of Facebook during the time when we needed to speak the loudest, it turned me off of Facebook. I use it to set up, groups, because that's where I get a lot of intel and information from people on our cases that we're covering. But in the real grand scheme of things, we have this huge, we have huge platforms that can cause damage and lethal damage. So they have to have algorithms and other things in place to find and identify these. And if they're not doing it, then they either need to show that they're making a huge step in the right direction to stop this, or they got to go. They've got to go. When social media becomes the catalyst to assassinations, I'm sorry, it's time to start limiting some of the stuff. Freedom of speech, there is a limit to it. Just like there is a limit to our gun laws and just about every single one of our constitutional uninfringed rights. There's still infringement on them because you just can't run into a movie theater and cry fire. You can be arrested. You cannot do that. And so we're getting to the point where we really need to thank these social media platforms, and we need to start putting laws in place to hold them accountable. If you are a United States app, if you are an app that works in the United States, you shall keep records for 7 years, all records. I don't care if they've got to build 10,000 more data centers to store the stuff. That is their responsibility to protect us. When people delete stuff, it should never be deleted forever. And that goes for even the cameras, like the Ring, and there should be a way that they are somehow kept to refer back to. So when people decide to, say, unalive their children, they can't go and erase their home surveillance cameras to hide themselves or shield themselves from crimes, which we see over and over again. And we find that things like Ring doorbell, once you delete it from the app, it's gone forever. Well, that's no good. That's no good. You have a product that can be beneficial in law enforcement, and therefore I think there needs to be some regulations to make sure it's beneficial for law enforcement. It's against some privacy, and maybe that's exactly why they want to do all this stuff and wreak havoc in our country. So we do establish more strict stuff that they are going to later down the road exploit.
Moment of silence, please.
A vigil at the U.S. Capitol last night honored conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Among the speakers, Congressman Steve Scalise, who was shot at a congressional baseball practice in 2017.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We're going to be discussing this because, we're hearing a lot of stuff. The violence comes from both sides. You know what? There are radicals on both sides, but you know what? I don't see Nancy Pelosi getting shot. I don't see Chuck Schumer getting shot. I see low-level congressmen and women from Minnesota that went against Tim Walz, and it just so happened to be an ex-employee of Tim Walz that went after them, okay? So let's cut the nonsense and this double standard and this BS about how this is a two-party problem. Yes, we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Are there people in my party that I despise? You are absolutely right. But you know what? The last time I saw anything, I don't recall any neo-Nazi going over to our white supremacist going over to Nancy Pelosi and taking her out, or Chuck Schumer, or any of the people that spread this venom around our country. Right? I don't see ABC executives being assassinated like CEOs of insurance companies. So let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. You guys may have your feelings, but we don't go and silence people for the freedom of speech. And while there may be some things going on in this country, none at the level of what we've been seeing around this country. So if you want to be on that bandwagon of it's both sides, you can stay on that bandwagon. I choose not to. I choose to acknowledge that our party has work to do, no doubt, but I don't see people being assassinated from people, even the neo-Nazi or white supremacists that they say we have in our group. I mean, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Do we have some terrible people? People have a right to vote, and they have a right to put an R or a D next to their name. And this idea that we have no racial issues on the left is bull. Have you listened to them? They demonize white people like it's going out of style. I don't know. I've been kind to a lot of people. I treat people like crap. If they treat me like crap, I've never once asked them how they voted, or what their religious preferences are. I treat them based upon how they treat me, plain and simple. And I think everybody is like that. I don't like Jasmine Crockett. I think she's a ghetto bee. Okay? Not because of her color of her skin. It's because she's just a nasty, race-baiting piece of garbage. We have great people on all sides of the aisle. My friends, I'm telling you, they come from all walks of life. All walks of life. The people from California look more like half of my family than they do like me. We love. And I think it's time to have those conversations because nobody's perfect. We never say anybody is. But let's face it, bullets are coming from one side, not the other. These bullets and these crimes are from one-sided policies. We want law and order. We want the criminals in jail. I remember when this happened to Scalise. It was horrific. I was saddened.
Can never be
But let's look at it. I mean, history, right? History. It was the Democrats that unalived themselves, right? Look at Abraham Lincoln. Look at Martin Luther King. These aren't right-wing nuts. And if that's what they said, then they're lying. This was their own party because, let's face it, RFK, or, you guys know, JFK. Why do I keep saying RFK? JFK is, because of Robert. JFK was assassinated by his own party because he was moderate and he was having a lot of talking points that resonated with the Republican side of the aisle. So he was taken out by his own party. They didn't like him. They didn't like what he stood for. They didn't like the policies they were putting in. So let's talk about the violence because it's been going on from where I stand for a very, very, very long time.
accepted as the norm in this great country. It goes against everything that our country was founded upon.
New details are emerging about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. The messaging platform Discord confirms shortly before he was taken into custody, an account belonging to Robinson claimed responsibility for the shooting with the message, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." FBI Director Kash Patel says Robinson has admitted to the killing.
A text message exchange where the suspect specifically stated that he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do that. And when he was asked why, he said some hatred cannot be negotiated with.
Patel says officials have seized multiple devices from the suspect's home where he lived with his romantic partner and says
And I just want to stop right there for a second and we'll get back to it. Thank you, Phoenix Moon. Phoenix Moon gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Phoenix Moon thank you. And for the 5 beautiful people, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. It is nice to see you. It's nice to have you guys here, and thank you so much for the gift. I do believe that there's more to the story. I feel like there is downplaying from Discord. I think Discord realizes at this point they have a huge problem with their accounts. I'm very thankful I didn't know if they were overseas or United States, but it sounds like they were United States brand. So they got stringent requirements of keeping, stuff, messages, and all this other stuff. So that is somewhat good, but at the end of the day, it's a day late and a dollar short.
DNA on a screwdriver and towel found at the crime scene are a match. We're also now learning the first person taken into custody after the shooting was allegedly trying to help Robinson escape. An affidavit revealing 71-year-old George Zinn claimed he was the one who shot Kirk, but officials say Zinn later admitted saying that to draw attention away from the real shooter. President Trump blames left-wing radicals and says Robinson was radicalized online.
It seems like he has wonderful parents, brought in a wonderful neighborhood, smart guy.
And that comes back to our conversation, guys. How the hell do they warp a normal kid's mind to the point of murder? For the life of me, thank you, Sonia. For the life of me, I can't figure out how they were able to do this. I want to know more about this. He's a normal kid to now he's assassin. How did this happen? Because it's within that knowledge that we can start fixing. I know it's brainwashing, indoctrination, but how? How? That's the problem. Because we're going to be talking about some things that we found out last night on the show. We had a lot of people coming and going. I about fell over when I saw the total number of people that had visited the chat. But at the end of the day, we learned something last night. And we learned that all 3 of the major assassins are associated and affiliated with an engineering program at different schools. So that's telling me something is being able to identify these people at several different areas around the country. And the only thing that I can think of is the scholarships. They have to be identifying the behaviors and the traits in these scholarships when they're filling them out. How they're filling them out tells somebody, if they're very clever with these questionnaires, they can tell, I'm telling you, they can tell a lot about somebody's personality by the way they answer questions, by how they answer questions, by how they write their essays. There's something to be told in that. And somebody that knows this and knows how to identify certain, you have to have, they obviously have to be very smart because they got to be able to think on their feet when they're in a jam. They've got to be, they went to school, they obviously filled out scholarship papers to go to school. We knew Thomas Crooks was very smart and in the engineer program. We saw, well, let me get through this because I've got my receipts for all of this coming up. Let's just finish this up and then we'll get on.
Silence, please.
Saying that to draw attention away from the real shooter.
So we know that that old man was a part of this plan. So that is a breaking news because everybody has been asking, what about this man? What about and there's another person in the crowd as well that brandished a firearm. Is that person, did he brandish the firearm because he wanted to see where the shooter was coming from? Or was he doing it to throw law enforcement off? We're unsure. But something is not right, and it seems like more players were involved. But we're hearing he acted alone, and I just don't see how that is a true statement.
President Trump blames left-wing radicals and says Robinson was radicalized online.
It seems like he has wonderful parents, brought in a wonderful neighborhood, smart guy, great boards, great marks, great student. And then something happened to him over a fairly short period of time.
The New York Police Department is now warning of an increasingly volatile threat environment, saying the killing of Charlie Kirk and last year's killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson stem from the same toxic and violent atmosphere.
Yep.
The NYPD warning, rather than aligning with a single extremist ideology, malicious actors may adopt a personalized, hate-filled worldview drawn from a mix of beliefs, amplifying the risk of future attacks by lone offenders.
And of course, New York is promoting a communist to run their area. Like that's going to make things better. Yeah. The sick in our country. It's sad. It's sad. I gotta tell you, it's sad to watch all this nonsense going on. Absolutely sad. So if you guys weren't aware, Vice President J.D. Vance actually hosted Charlie Kirk's show where he brought a bunch of iconic people. He had Steve Miller there. He had a few other people in the house with him, and they were talking about different things. We're going to get over to what is going to be going on, what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be handling some of this stuff. That is all going to be a part of this show. So I did want to read this article for you and just give you guys a little bit of insight in case you guys didn't see it. Where is it? I think this is going to be it. Why do I have this up here? Cash Patel reveals details about... that's why.
Ever wondered about the science behind a knock? ABC Legal does more than knock on doors.
All right, joining us now with more, FBI Director Cash Patel. Cash, thanks for being with us. Is there an investigation into a wider plot?
Sean, thanks so much for having me. And because President
Trump
and the Attorney General have prioritized resources to this all-important investigation, we're dedicating every asset we have to run the reverse daisy chain analysis of anyone that was in contact with a suspect that's currently in custody, and anyone he contacted, called, and text messaged, and had chats on online social media platforms with. That's the power of the FBI. That's the resources we brought in immediately with our cell phone analytic team to use the cell phone tower data dump system to geolocate specifically where this cell phone was and who had it, and after that, who he was talking to. And Sean, let me tell you a little bit about the information we've collected. We've collected information where, through witness interviews from the FBI and local law enforcement, that he essentially admitted after the shooting and assassination of Charlie Kirk, the suspect admitted to it. Furthermore, the evidence and information will come out. I won't stylize the evidence. The Attorney General is absolutely right. We can't do that. But I will say what was found in terms of information, a text message exchange where the suspect specifically stated that he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do that. And when he was asked why, he said some hatred cannot be negotiated with.
Yeah, you're also running an investigation on what's called the Discord chat room, which has scores of people on it, and texts between the suspect and the partner. I assume that those discussions are ongoing?
Absolutely. In order to properly adjudicate this matter and let law enforcement hand off information into evidence for a court of law for prosecution, we have to go out and get search warrants. We have to go out and get search warrants of the identifiers that were then built off of the prior search warrants. And we are doing that. And we are going to be interviewing scores of people on not just these chats on Discord, but any communications that this individual have. We've seized multiple electronic devices from the home of the suspect and his romantic partner. We've got computers, we've got laptops, we've got gaming systems, we've got cell phones. All of that is being triaged by the FBI because...
So they've got, from what I understand, they've got a massive amount of digital evidence against this guy. We already have 6 to 7 organizations currently under investigation right now. We are not playing. The president is not playing. He's going after RICO. He's going after anything he can. He's going after the bad actors and whomever is in charge of those programs. We're going to find out that there are politicians involved in this chaos. We're going to find that out. We're going to find that there's organizations that have profited off this. We're going to find out that BlackRock is somehow involved. Yep, Frank. Yep, you stole the words right out of my mouth. They're involved somewhere. George Soros, Bill Gates. I pray to God that they get to the bottom of this. And it's following and tracing the money. But the idea that this is somehow we're not over by any stretch of the imagination. I truly believe within a year we're going to have a good understanding.
Because that's what we do. And the resources that the Attorney General has dedicated to this mission is allowing us to move at the speed we have. As you said, 33 hours. 33 hours, Sean, this individual was apprehended.
Because 33 hours, and I did mention Luigi Mangione, and I did mention...
And you got to remember, because other people took days to locate and find.
The Sarnoff brothers in the Boston bombing. And I did talk about the Centennial Park bomber, Eric Rudolph, and Ted Kaczynski. 33 hours, 2 hours after the video footage was enhanced and released, the suspect's father turned him in. And you got criticized for doing that, and I'm criticized for going out to the crime scene, and I'm having a hard time understanding what people's expectations are.
So people, can you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? People are upset that the FBI, the director of the FBI, went out to the crime scene. Like, I would be up here bashing Kash Patel right now, one of my own, if he didn't go out to the crime scene. You know, and not only did he go out there, but so did Dan Bongino, okay? I don't know what to say other than I'm so blessed that we have those two people at the end of the day in the positions that they are in for a case such as this, because I know they will not let this go. They're going to find out every single thing.
Sean, my expectation is delivered to the mission and the resources the men and women of the FBI need and to produce. And that's what we did here. When you're talking about things like going out to a crime scene, that's how you investigate that matter properly. And when you're talking about why did it take 33 hours, well, I made the operational decision to immediately release enhanced videos and photographs of the suspect because the operational call that I made for the FBI said, we are about to smoke this guy out.
Ooh.
And his family and friends and his internal network.
Ooh. Frank is saying they dropped the terrorist charges this morning on Luigi. Huh. I wonder if Luigi is, I'm telling you, they're connected. All these cases. Crooks, he's the only other live assassin, you know, because he took out the CEO. He had all these writings on his bullet. He's probably being talked to. I'm wondering if that is part of maybe a plea deal of negotiation to speak to him. If they tell him certain information, they'll drop the terrorist charge. It might have been a negotiation tactic because I too do believe both of those are connected. They both have writing on their bullets. I still haven't determined whether or not there was any writing on any of the bullets for Crooks. I can't remember. My brain won't let me to remember. And every time I get off here, I forget to search to find out whether he had inscribed any of his bullets as well. Obviously, he shot off a lot more bullets than anybody. What is the point of going there that they would add to the investigation? I doubt they did anything. Ooh, that's a little nasty, Swift. What's the point of any officer showing up that needs to direct people, right? I mean, I guess we shouldn't have sheriffs when we have murders or deputies out there when we have murders. I mean, what's the point, right? What's the point? They are the directors. They are the ones, they are like the head. They're have you ever heard of chain of command? They're kind of at the top of that chain of command. So they have to give instructions down. Now, if something this bad, I would think it would be malpractice if we had a case like this and the directors of the FBI for an assassination didn't show up. So Swift, I would suggest you really think about this because you know what, if it's your child or your family member, I think you would want somebody of authority out there, no? Because I know damn well if it's me or my family, I want somebody with authority out there looking at my case. It seems very ignorant that somebody would not want the top of the food chain out there investigating their case.
Is going to assist it. And this is the operation I want to highlight in terms of transparency. The FBI is traditionally an organization that has not been
through proper court. I agree the same thing. I think he's a treasonous pig. So what, you want me to cry? He's a treasonous pig. He ran the country for 4 years while sleeping. So what? Did he go out and try to kill him? Did he send people out to kill him? No, because he believes in the law. The law for treason is execution. We are the law. We are law and order, okay? And I don't care whether he called for it or not. I would. I called for it for Obama for his treasonous crap. I think anybody that commits treason and espionage on the United States should face death. Then you don't need to be here. So have a great day. Somebody kick that. I'll take care of it. I'd like the honor of kicking this piece of shit out of my chat. Have a great day. I hope you find God. Somebody needs to kick. I can't do it from my end. Swift, Sonia, kick Swift. You don't deserve to be in here spreading venom or vile. I want the person blocked. Never come back here again. We don't play with your kind over here. Go over to wherever the fuck you came from, but don't come back here. Okay? Because we believe you're a despicable piece of garbage. Despicable. And I hope everything. No, I don't. But sometimes you need some real bad problems in your life to understand what somebody is going through. So I hope God allows you to see. That's what I pray for you. I pray that your eyes are opened one day. Unfortunately, most people's eyes are opened after they've had really bad stuff happen to them. But sometimes you got to have that. I had to walk a terrible path to get to where I am today, but it sure makes me appreciate what I have today. So sometimes that's got to go. But, you know, in all fair and fun, in all fair and fun.
Sneaky gremlins love to fight, but we're here to set it right. Jump and duck, let's take a shot, turning trolls into what they're not. Whack a troll, let 'em tumble, let 'em roll. Swing your spatula or a stick, whack 'em fast, whack 'em quick.
That's what I gotta say. Yeah, no, I there are certain things I believe, and I believe if anybody's ever convicted of treason, espionage in our country, I think that we have laws to take care of that. You go to the firing range, you go to lethal injection. It's not my problem. I don't care how your little bleeding heart doesn't like the language. We're not shooting people. Okay, so based on you, because I don't like the president, I think the ex-president, because I think he's a treasonous pig, and I think that once he goes to court and he's found to be a treasonous pig, do I think that they need to, you know, have the full weight of our judicial system rain down on him? I do. I pray for everybody in this country, but I also believe in law and order, and I believe an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I'm a barbaric woman like that. That doesn't make me any less of a Christian. It doesn't make me any less of the Christian. So I'm not going to have a bleeding heart in here trying to shame me into compliance. You do the crap, you do stupid game, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes, including but not limited to death in this country.
Transparent. My mission to the American public, as I said in my confirmation here, I am going to work with you to make this organization as transparent as possible, including during investigations, so that we restore trust in the FBI and the integrity of the FBI that was jettisoned away by the fools that weaponized it. And when I said that, I meant it, and you saw it in action. And no one should be criticizing anyone but me if they got a problem with it. The men and women of the FBI handled this brilliantly. And as you said, Boston and the Luigi Mangione case happened in downtown metropolises with thousands of people around, and it still took them 5 days. So if you got a criticism, make a fair criticism and bring it to my feet. And I promise you the men and women of the FBI will respond like we did in this manhunt for Charlie Kirk's assassin.
He makes a valid point. He makes a very, very, very valid point. You know? All these people, all these cameras, everything. And they slow-walked it. Cash Patel was out there because he wasn't slow-walking crap. They weren't giving him the stuff he needed. So he went out there and kind of educated his team that this is not the old FBI. This is the new FBI, and we turn things over in record time. We're ultra transparent with what we can have, and we as a public, we as America, appreciate that. Thank you, Cash Patel.
Let me, to the extent you can talk about the possibility of a wider plot or other people's involvement in this, that would be a chilling scenario to me.
And think about it, folks. What do we want over here, right? Thank you. Who is that? Edits? Thank you. Thank you, love. Thank you for your love and support. I haven't seen it pop up yet on the other side, but I know you're here somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? I didn't see it. Yeah, I know. I'll be traveling for my birthday. And we are going to Arizona, obviously not required by any stretch of the imagination, but always appreciated. If you guys want to pitch in for that trip, the trip I am going, whether we raise money or not, but if you guys would like to help, I would definitely appreciate it. You can do that by Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or just doing a super chat. If you do a super chat, please say something positive and kind, unless you have a question. I don't want to, not answer questions or tell you not to ask questions, but if you're not asking questions, please write something inspiring to people.
John Solomon, who I'm pretty sure you know, had a piece out there about a radicalized group close to the area, up in the mountains.
Thanks, guys.
They seem to be very radical with the same agenda. Does that concern you, what you're seeing?
All of it concerns me, Sean, but I can't divulge every investigative step we're taking because I don't want to disclose who we're going after and why we're going after them.
So we've got people, okay? Guys, you guys need to understand, they've already got their targets. They're telling us this man did not work alone. They're telling us that there's a bigger story here. They're telling us that things don't seem as they should. This is what's coming from our law enforcement body that is being as transparent as they possibly can in an assassination. Think about it. How many people really know all the details of JFK, right? It took, 40 years for them to start trickling down some information? I mean, thank you, Becky. You know what I'm saying? Thank you all that wished me a happy birthday. I'm seeing that there's a lot more than the people I called out, so thank you guys. You guys are so incredibly sweet, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. But we're getting a lot of details. This is a left-wing indoctrination. This is now squarely on the Democrat side of the aisle, no matter how you look at it. People that have brain cells are seeing what everybody else is seeing. And if you're not, I'm going to ask you to look into yourself, because that's where the work needs to begin. You need to find out, what do you want in life? Do you want people truly out there being homicidal maniacs over speech? Because if you're cheering it on for somebody else might be cheering it on when your number's up, And nobody wants to think of it like that. But at the end of the day, if there's an assault on the First Amendment, it's an assault on the First Amendment. That goes from every walk of life in this country, whether you're a voter or not. That's pretty stinking dangerous. And if you are so scared of the right and the crazy MAGA people, you just gave them a carte blanche, KILL card. No? Didn't you just give them that? I mean, we're so horrible. We're so horrible that we have to wear bulletproof vests. We're so horrible, we're the ones having to put on the vests. Sounds a little weird. It sounds like victim shaming and justification. For what? Oh, because you didn't like somebody's language and now you want to justify it so you can make sure that people know that they got your support to do more. We keep hearing that everybody's calling for more assassinations. More assassinations, more assassinations. Well, I can tell you, there's going to be only so much. People are going to rise up. We can't have this type of language. We can't have this type of language. Do you hear us? I mean, I come out here and tell you, the world we're living in, everybody needs to be right with protecting themselves and their families. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that, Melanie. Happy early birthday. Stay safe and safe travels. Much love. Big hugs and kiss. Big hugs and kiss. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. This is going to be one of the longest trips I've made in the vehicle, and I just don't like the long trips, but I'm going to plan it so I can stop some places and, get some content that I haven't had the opportunity to get going through that side. I don't go this way very often, so if you guys have any type of cases in, say, like Texas, Arizona, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and, something like that, I think I got to look at my track. Send it to me. I'll stop and get some footage, I'll be out there. I'm going to be taking some footage while I'm out there and getting a lay of the land. And I know there's going to be some cases. I might even go over and check out the Daybell case, since it's over and it's been a while. I might track that one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do out there, but we'll definitely... the show doesn't stop because I'm having to bury an associate that...
Obviously, it's been leaked about this Discord chat, so we're going to discuss it a little bit. But what the FBI does is identify, catalog, and bring in experts. That's what we were doing. Round the clock, flying in people evidence response teams, hostage rescue teams, special operators on our FBI planes and transporting evidence back in real time from the crime scene in the West Coast to our labs in Quantico to address the situation of forensics immediately. And you highlighted the screwdriver that was found on top of the roof and the towel in which the firearm was found, the ravine that I walked myself along with the rooftop. I said, we cannot waste a second on this DNA analysis. And we were announced today on Fox that the DNA was a positive match for the suspect in question. That's hard forensics at work. That's your FBI moving at rocket speed to deliver transparency and information about an ongoing investigation, and we felt it appropriate for the American public to know this.
I really like him. I don't know about you, but I really, oh, thank you, Deanna. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so Oklahoma schools opt out of moment of silence. Many opt out of moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. I just think it's sad. You know, if the Democrats had these moments of silence for Hortman, which they didn't, if they had, you know, vigils for Hortman, which they didn't, if the Democrat side would have done anything, I would have supported that. You know, I would have prayed over that. I would have taken a moment of silence. I do believe we may even have taken a moment of silence here on this channel for her. I can't be 100%, but I know we've taken several moments of silence here. I never once asked them what side of the aisle they were on. I don't think normal people do. But for people to go out of their way, I like to take them down. So we're going after this Oklahoma school district. You know, I don't want people that that see hurt and don't stand up against it. That is a weak person. Those are people that do not need to be in charge. People need to lead by strength. They need to condemn all acts of violence. Everybody should be taking a moment of silence. Where's the free speech in a moment of silence? They stripped that. The Oklahoma schools stripped that from people. That's not okay for me. That's not okay. It's not okay. So what we did find out is that Luigi Mangione, he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. He graduated with a bachelor's in science and engineering, a BSc, and an MSc, which is a Master of Science and Engineering. Right here. All of this. Let me make sure it's on the screen. Yeah, it is on the screen. All of that. That right there is an engineering class in school. University of Pennsylvania engineer. Okay? Now we come over to Thomas Crooks. He earned an associate degree in engineering from a community college in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Another engineering degree, University of Pittsburgh, Robert Morris University. All of these, so now we have two people in engineering degrees in, I don't know why this thing keeps doing what it's doing, in Pennsylvania. Now, we go over to Tyler. Now, granted, he's not in Pennsylvania, but he is now posing outside of Richard and Munyan Anderson Engineering Building. Why would he be posing in front of that particular sign if he wasn't going to be going to that particular course? Another engineering course. So now we have three 20-something-year-olds that have been indoctrinated to kill, coming from our universities, predominantly in Pennsylvania, but all three, no matter how you look at it, came from an engineering program at a university or community college. Again, all of these things most likely require what? Scholarships. How are they identifying these people? I think they're being questioned. I think they're getting psychological questions that they're filling out as part of their scholarships. And I think that identifies them. This is very, very interesting for me. Very interesting. Alicia, okay, we got a show more love to others in the world. Be there for one. Yes. I agree, Ashley. We took a moment of silence at our VFW meeting. And I want to say this too. If your preacher didn't talk about the violence or the case, no matter whether he liked Charlie Kirk or not, you need a new church. You need a new church. Anybody that's of the faith or has cloth that demonizes any individual is not a pastor. They are sheep, and they are a wolf in sheep clothing. We hear about it in our Bible all the time. The false prophecy, the false this, the false that. Okay? Anybody that cowards down in a moment like this is not somebody of faith. Because faith is about conviction. It's about conviction. It's not just about preaching over your flock. They were upset. They didn't want to offend anybody. When somebody is executed, and even the cloth is unwilling to offend the accusers, the cheer-ons, that's not a person of faith that I want to listen to. It's not a person of faith I want to listen to. Because we go to our clergymen for guidance. I can't be guided by somebody that can't condemn the most ruthless act against God. I can't trust somebody that doesn't condemn the most ruthless act under Christianity. I can't do it. And you shouldn't either. So this is interesting. This is going to give you guys an insight of what's going on here. So Steve Miller declares he's carrying out Charlie Kirk's final wish to him, that the left-wing NGOs will be held criminally liable for fomenting violence. So we're going to have people like Act Blue and other organizations that are going to be under fire, in my opinion. And we know who heads all those. We also found that Harim, I think is what his name is, Jeffries, is associated with funding radicals out in the street. I'm trying to determine which one it is. I need to find out because they did put the riot, and I don't think it was the Summer of Love, but it could very well have been the Summer of Love for all I know. That man, if true, deserves to be in jail because people lost their life. Any place where there was destruction and somebody in our government was responsible, they should be immediately arrested and taken out of office. Breaking, Stephen Miller declares, as I said, for the left-wing NGOs to be held criminally liable. There are these nonprofit entities that organize, as President mentioned, they attack ICE officers. I'll let you hear it for himself, because I think he just put the
Yeah, so I believe what you're referring to is there are these nonprofit entities that organize, as the president mentioned, attacks on ICE officers, attacks on Border Patrol agents, organize doxing campaigns, which are a violation of federal law. They break off cement and they bring into riots. They have organized drop points for weapons, organized drop points for gas masks, organized drop points for all the materials necessary to launch a riot. Of course, you saw that during the Black Lives Matter riots as well, too. So there's this whole network of organizations. And I think the key point the president's been making is somebody is paying for all of this. This is not happening for free. And so under the president's direction.
And I want to let you guys know, because he brought up, I'll back it up a little bit. I want you guys to know that the president of Black Lives Matter just pleaded guilty to 37 fraud charges. The Black Lives Matter movement wasn't about Black lives at all. It was about, again, stealing money from the American people and laundering it for their own personal gain. Multiple houses were purchased, living a fairy tale lifestyle for funds that were supposed to help the Black community. That was Black Lives Matter. The head of that just yesterday, going to jail for quite some time because they laundered the money. They were fraudulent. They've never helped anybody. They just wanted the nonprofit to launder money to themselves under the guise of help. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
This is not happening for free. And so under the president's direction, the attorney general is going to find out who is paying for it, and they will now be criminally liable for paying for violence. Yeah, so what you're referring to is there are these nonprofit entities.
So they've been supplying weaponry, gas masks, and all of the arsenal to these thugs to carry out these dangerous acts in these communities. They weren't done organically, where people just rose up and was so angry and went to the streets. These were organized chaos to bring destruction to our country. Robbie Starbuck, which was an amazing leader against Cracker Barrel and the Cracker Barrel CEO and restoring fresh food back in Cracker Barrel. Guys, you guys can now go to Cracker Barrel and get we have the haters in here. Maybe we need to change our stuff. We know who that is. That's a piece. That's a piece of garbage that isn't a. This person here that was just deleted actually works as an electrician for Boeing or Lock. Maybe it's Locks. What is that? Lock. Whatever, the ones that do the military stuff. I think it's Boeing for whatever reason, because I did whatever. So that's who that is. It's a black guy that stalks white women, and he works as a part-time electrician, doesn't have his life together, and doesn't like me. So that's who put that post out, if you guys were just curious. Lockheed, yeah, there it is, Lockheed Martin. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth. If anybody doesn't know Seth, Seth is one dealing with corruption right now in Sumner County, Tennessee. He has a son that has been disappeared by his wife and her husband, her stepdad allegedly, or his stepdad allegedly, and Seth is the biological father trying to find his son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He has lost he's lost his faith in the sheriff out in Sumner County. And of course, I just broke, by the help of one of my beautiful audience members, that not only did this Sheriff Snuggle Struggles decide to go to the Board of County Commissioners with his hands out to get himself a raise, never once asking for funds to go out and search for Sebastian. And now he's back before the board again, asking for a $220,000 remodel to their building. Again, never once asking for funds to help locate Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. By the way, Sheriff Snuggle Struggles, which his legal name is Sheriff Eric Craddock, decides to protect the people that disappeared this child because they are friends. They are friends. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Because they are friends. So now we have a situation where we have a sheriff that's corrupt, friends with the people that disappeared this boy, and he's actively obstructing the case. He will not let U.S. Marshals help him. He will not let the FBI help him. He will not let TBI help them. They're just a corrupt organization that wants to keep the feds out of their community, and it makes me wonder why. What is the feds going to find when they look under the hood for this case? I think they're going to find that they royally screwed up this case, and they don't want that information out there, so they'd rather sweep it under the rug than find out how terrible they were in investigating this case. That is truly what I believe. So thank you, Seth, for being here. We definitely support Seth Rogers. The silence from most university after Charlie Kirk's murder at the college even speaks loudly, and finally, a professor that had the courage to call it out. Meet Professor Trevor Michael Tomash from the University of Wisconsin system. He said everything that needs to be said. I'm a university professor in Wisconsin. Obligatory disclaimer, these views are mine alone and not a reflection of the views of the university system, University of Wisconsin system. The fact that Charlie was killed on a college campus for expressing his opinions and ideas, the one place in society whose sole purpose is to express opinions and ideas, should be a watershed moment for all universities. Every single member of every single university community, faculty, administrators, staff, and students should be laminating this as it spells the death of the university. There should have immediately been a press release from every school in the United States condemning this act of ideological violence. Students should have been told about the gravity of this situation. Faculty should have been coached on how to explain what freedom of speech looks like. And every classroom should have an entire lecture devoted to why what Charlie was doing was so fundamental to the fabric of American society. Instead, hundreds of professors and students celebrated and continue to celebrate. To date, there has been no statement from my university or the University of Wisconsin system. Not a single one of my students heard from any of their professors about this. How do I know? I asked them. Not only did I ask them, but I gave them my 50-minute lecture about why this moment is one of the most darkest in American history, and how we must pull back from this and encourage the dialogue, or the American project is dead. Conservative students and faculty are taking this silence on belief of administrator as an endorsement of the violence against them. Yeah, and that's the problem. Listen to this statement. Conservative students and conservative faculty are taking this silence on behalf of the administration as an endorsement of violence against them. That's scary. That's why we're doing what we are doing. When little 5'4", 96-pound grandma, Sister Cindy Schmock, came to our campus to talk to our kids about Jesus, they had sent out a campus-wide email telling the students that if they needed to talk about their traumatic experience, that counselors will be available, and there's safe spaces where they can go and cry and play with toys. They then assembled a task force to determine how to handle people like Cindy and the trauma she inflicted on students. When my students witnessed a man, someone they grew up watching since they were kids, have his throat blown out by a .30-06 round at a college campus much like our own, doing something that they are meant to be doing, nothing. I've written, called, and pleaded with the admins on campus to just say something. No return call, no email back, no invitation to talk about this, nothing. I had one email the day of telling me, because they know no conservative students actually talk to me, that I can send students to the woke counselors in the DEI and belonging building on campus. Diversity, equality, and belonging building on campus. Oh, and I got an email reminding me that if I'm going to identify myself as a professor, I need to add a variation of disclaimers left at the top of this comment. I'm so angry, I'm disappointed, I'm scared shitless. But when I got done with my lecture, which I intend on publishing it, I did record it, nearly every student came to me and shook my hand. One student, Korean, I believe, even gave me a bow. The kids can be saved. There is so much potential in Gen Z. But if the only thing they hear from institutions of higher learning is extremist propaganda from radical Marxists, many more Charlie Kirks are going to happen, and America will be extinct within a century. Tomorrow is another school week. I'm going to continue to fight like hell, but I can't do it alone, though. I need your help. There he is. Thank you, Trevor, for your work. It is time for us to start defunding these these university organizations. There is a team right now working, trying to defund these organizations. We no longer want our students our children to go to these organizations because of what they're doing and what they're producing. They're producing vile, hateful children. That is not an education. That is not an education. No more. We're done. My title from here on out is no more. No more violence, no more paying for violence, no more paying for indoctrinating our kids, no more brainwashing, no more. We're done. We're done. No more. I want to defund everybody. This is our money. This is the federal taxpayer. This is our money. This is our money. I am not paying for this shit anymore. And I will do everything I can to end it. Until these universities get a freaking clue, I'm done. Defund them all. Defund them all. Let's see who can actually stand on their own. It is not the responsibility of the American citizens to keep paying taxes for this kind of education. It's not even our responsibility to give somebody higher education, as a matter of fact. Exactly. Hillsdale takes $0 federal dollars. $0 federal dollars. Universities, you're done. You know how I know? Because there's 1,000 people like me that are going to make sure that we advocate to end any tax funds, federal tax funds, from going to your piece of garbage schools that are producing murderers. Murderers. Absolutely not. Murderers. We can't have it anymore. We just can't. We can't.
We're all in. We're all in. Either we fight for this country, either we fight for the rights of to be free, or we lay down and give it all over to people who actually hate this country and would rather have it burnt down to the ashes. And we can't stand for that. So we'll show our hats, we'll show our MAGA hats, we'll show whatever, make America godly again. We're all in. We're all in. Either we fight for this country, either.
Before I get started, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the horrific events of last week and the assassination of my good friend for over a decade and one of the conservative movement's strongest leaders, Charlie Kirk. Charlie's murder was a dark, horrible reminder that we live in a fallen, broken world full of sin and evil. Charlie was a man of deep faith, and as Christians, we are called to put our trust in God and confront evil head on. I hope that each of us can be motivated by the bold, fearless life Charlie led in his unwavering commitment to our Creator. Charlie wouldn't want us to simply grieve. He'd want us to turn our grief into a calling to help others find the eternal life we know he is experiencing now.
Amen.
He'd want us to use our pain for purpose and never forget why he did what he did every day. He didn't go to college campuses looking for controversy. He went looking for lost souls who needed spiritual truth. He helped bring light to a dark world, and now it is our job not to let that light ever go out. Charlie, we will miss you, and we will never forget you and the hope that you brought to each and every one of us. Thank you.
And we're going to pick up the torch and keep fighting. We're going to pick up the torch and keep fighting. This is very interesting. It's very concerning. A lot of the stuff I'm finding is very concerning.
I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair.
you,
They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper-paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
So Candace is dropping a lot of stuff because she wants to understand. This is another activist that I personally know, and he went to the streets. He went to the streets. He has a lot more money and resources than I do. You guys have seen him in photos with me before, and he went to the streets and protested in front of this animal shelter because the deplorable statements that were made.
Hospital in Oklahoma, they got the rainbow up there. Gentle care is what they're supposed to be all about. Gentle care, and yet the owner of this animal hospital tweeted something, and this young man put it right here in the parking lot in the open field right next to the animal hospital, so that everybody that brings their dogs or cats to this vet or even drives by can see this. You got to see what this young man Devin did. Look at this. This is the actual tweet of the owner of this place. Gentle Care Animal Hospital. Charlie Kirk, right-wing, stupid F, MAGA activist, shot unalived in Utah campus. He's only the first. Are you freaking kidding me? Could we actually be getting smart and culling the sick ones? Oh gosh, I want to offer his family my thoughts and prayers with the middle finger. Yeah, that's what this guy, Christopher Rispoli, the owner of that place, Gentle Care Animal Hospital, has said. So, I saw that, and I said I need to come down here and meet the man that put this together, and it's Devin, right?
Yes.
Devin put this together. Devin, you saw this pretty disgusting tweet from the owner of this place.
Did.
And you did something about it.
Did.
Why'd you do that?
I felt it needed done. Somebody had to do it, and rather than talk about it, I just did it.
Amen.
And when I first came up and asked you about it, you said something about free speech. You said it perfectly. I want you to share what you said.
Free speech is free, but it does still have consequences.
Boom! There is consequences. You own a business, supposed to be taking care of people's pets, and you're glorifying and promoting the murder of one of my friends.
Yes.
Charlie was my friend.
Yes.
I've known him for 10 years. It's disgusting. He was a human being. He was a father. He was a husband. Hospital.
So that's happening all over. I'm proud of the people I'm associated with. I'm going to be on the right side of the Lord. I'm going to be on the right side of history. I'm begging all of my faithful followers to also be on the right side of history. There's a lot of stuff going on. ACLU. There are churches, or excuse me, schools. We need to love our country and thy neighbor again. We need our let's listen to him. He's a good guy.
That Jesus would have said to your face. Got a message for Pastor Jamal Bryant. You call yourself a pastor, but you are exactly the kind of religious windbag that Jesus would have said to your face, your father is the devil. I absolutely believe, without a shadow of doubt, that Jesus would have told you, Jamal Bryant, your father is of the devil. And he was speaking to the religious leaders of his time. You take to your pulpit after Charlie's been assassinated and call him a so-called Christian and point out his skin color.
We're a true crime channel, Bonnie, and this is the crime of the century. So, based upon that statement, you're going to be booted. I apologize, but have a great day and God bless.
As if that has anything to do with anything? And then poke fun at Charlie? Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, you, Jamal, are working for the devil. And you are feeding your entire flock a bunch of lies, just like your father. And that
Oh, let's finish it.
goes for any other pastor that was talking the same kind of trashy nonsense about Charlie. He had more boldness than you, more faith than you, and he was actually speaking the truth and trying to bring healing. So any pastor out there that's talking trash about Charlie, your father is the father of lies. Satan. That's who your daddy is.
Just saying. All right, guys, that's kind of the end of the show. Please say a prayer for thy neighbor. Say a prayer for healing hearts. I'm still hurt. I'm still angry. I'm going to continue to be hurt. I'm going to continue to be angry. But we're not going to shut up. We're not going to let this go away. You guys know that this is very, very personal to me. Very, very, very personal to me. And no more. That's my message. No more. We're done with the violence. We're done with the criminals being let out on the street. We're done being these pawns in this wicked game. We're done. We're done. We're rising up. We're going to be stronger. We're going to be more united. But we are going to get the disease out of this country. We are going to get this disease out of our country. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel. If you would like to donate or support this system, to support this channel, you can do this a multitude of ways, including memberships or for a monthly contribution to the channel. All help is appreciated but never required. I put these out there for you guys to listen to free of charge. We do get paid for advertisements on the ones that do make through the advertisement scrutiny, but we're going to be out at Charlie Kirk's memorial in Arizona. I'm going to be there early. I've got to find the front row. And so that's why I have to be there days early. So that's where we're at. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm leaving this afternoon. It's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be 28-hour drive. So it's going to take me 2 days to get there and 2 days to get back. So the travel is going to be 4 days for a one-day event. So I should be back on Tuesday. We will go live from the road, but just to forewarn all of my audience members, when we go live from the road, we sometimes have desolate areas and go down for as long as 5 minutes at a time. So if the live's still running, just stay in there. I mean, you can go out and come back in if you want when I come back on. But I will be back. Always enjoy the chat. There's always people in the chat chatting, even if my face is on the screen or not. Thank you, Holly. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. And all the beautiful people here. You guys are just beautiful, amazing people. And I'm sorry we had to shed some of our dedicated family members. You know, people have to make decisions. Are you for the evil or are you against the evil? If you're for the evil, then keep voting the way you're voting. If you are against it, it's time to start making some changes. And that is a hard line in the sand for me. You cannot be here on a true crime channel against violence and trying to work to change the violence in this country and keep voting the people that are causing the violence in this country. It just doesn't go hand in hand with the morality of this channel, with the beliefs of this channel. We're here to stop this. We're going to keep that top of mind. That has never changed. We've been talking about it for years. We've been advocating it for years. We've wrote many, thousands of letters have come from this channel. Thousands from our audience and everything. Through Summer Wells from 2021 on up to 2025. 4 solid years. You guys have been campaigning for change in this country and campaigning for the lawlessness to come to an end. We are now in that time where it is a make or break time. We either get this under control or we're all in danger. Period. We're all in danger. So I want every good-hearted, non-evil, demonic person out there to pick up a torch for this fight. And the best way you can honor Charlie Kirk is get right with your Lord and Savior. If you loved his message, if you loved who he was as a person and what he truly stood for, whether or not you agreed with the statements, then the best way you can honor Charlie Kirk is buy a Bible and go to church. That was his message. It's always been his message. It's always been his message. So please do him proud. God bless each and every one of you.